All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Tyler and Kevin's Week 1 Pick'em show. We'll
That's
be
right.
going through the rest of the games coming at you tonight, Thursday, and this weekend. Sorry for the delay in getting this video up. We recorded it all yesterday, and it didn't.
User error on both of
User
our parts,
errors
Kevin.
on both
Yes.
of our parts.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think the biggest mistake in that was when we got to the very end, and I realized that I could have just been running the show the entire time, and
We were using,
2 hours of our lives just gone. But, we got the practice run in. Let's go.
and this should be even better. All right,
Yeah.
so first, before we get into this upcoming weekend games, we're going to real quick recap what went wrong with our picks in the Iowa State Kansas State game. I honestly don't think I made the wrong pick with Iowa State and the over. If you'll see here, with 2 minutes left, there was a touchdown that got ruled back because his arm was right there.
That was right.
Kansas State was out of timeouts. And so Iowa State was able to kneel down at the 1-inch line. Had they just gotten that touchdown given to them, it would have been 52 total
I'm looking
points.
at that ball placement, and we might have to go with the metrics to the imperial system here, because that's like centimeter line right there. In my defense, though, Kevin, I did say on the video last week that I was going to make the first half under my absolute mortal pick. So I do still think I won. Regardless, a win's a win's a win, right? Okay.
All right.
Now, Kev, there are, I think I said there's 4 points I have to bring up about this game.
Mm-hmm.
Point number one, the coach that we couldn't figure out, Bill Snyder. That was the Kansas State. Kansas State, very famous coach who neither of us were in the know about. Point number two, Dylan Edwards. Really a shame he got injured on the very first play on that return. I think the rain just got to him a little bit there. Point number three, did you happen to hear about Avery Johnson's brother and father after the game?
I did from you.
Yes, on the
Because
trial run, but
this.
no, we have recorded this, but this is yesterday, remember?
No,
So you haven't heard
I
about
have
this
not
yet.
heard of this.
Okay, yeah, so if I were to tell you that a brother and father got into a fight, what would you immediately think?
I would think they got into a fight with somebody else.
Yeah, no, not what happened. Avery Johnson, the quarterback for Kansas State's brother and father, literally fought each other after the game. I don't know if it was too many Guinnesses over there across the pond or what, but my God. And then the last point, Kevin, before I get it to you to talk about the weather and the sloppiness of this game is, I was watching this game. I did not realize that defensive linebackers can get penalties for signals. I don't know if you noticed that, but they actually ended up giving a 5-yard penalty. And I saw Chris Kleiman, losing his mind on the sideline after it. I guess it's a new rule or something.
Like shouting signals?
No, hand signaling movements. I
know you can't do the guns
Yeah,
anymore.
you can't. Well, yeah, because now
Yeah.
that
right.
you know Donald's.
So, couple quick comments on the weather, because as we were keen on last week, if it does rain, that's going to change the whole layout of the game, and it did. Iowa State, on either their first or second drive, made it all the way inside the 5-yard line, did a pitch, fumbled the ball, lost out on that. Actually, this last play of the game as well, he probably should have had a touchdown, walked right in, but he slipped. So, in these games, it's always important, especially first game of the season, to consider weather.
No, big time, man.
We ready to get into?
Let's get into it. What a great weekend.
What a great weekend.
Dude, this is a live
We have
weekend.
7 games that we're going to be breaking down and picking, and then, as we'll mention at the end, there's even more games we didn't get to. But we're going to start things off Thursday night. 5:30 p.m. So this game has started.
That's right. Okay.
All right, we're gonna. I swear we haven't looked at it, but we're gonna go ahead and what time is it?
It is 6:23. This
6:23.
game's happening at 8 p.m. Come on.
All right.
Okay.
So
what is that?
we're gonna get.
No, that's Western time. By a half hour. Yeah.
That's West.
All right. Let's get.
All right, so we'll just get into it, and then we'll check after we record this video if we were right. So Boise State obviously coming off a great season, college football playoff.
Yep.
Didn't quite make it past Penn State, but a lot of that success was from Ashton Genty. I mean, if we look at these stats, they're crazy. We have 77% of the team's total rushing yards, and then almost 50% of every touchdown they scored were Ashton Genty's. So it's going to be tough to for them to fill that void. The only other thing to note as we're on the weather is that Boise State will be playing in a hot, humid South Florida climate.
Swamp, yeah.
Yeah, down in the swamp. Only other thing I would add before I throw it back to Tyler is that South Florida, they have the toughest three-game stretch to start the season of any team in the country. They're playing Boise State right now, and then they're playing next week on the road at 15 Florida, and then the week after that at number 10 Miami. So they got a full plate on their hands.
Yep. So, Kev, I'm going to start this by saying that all respect to USF's program. I think that you got to look at what Alex Golish has done in the last 2 seasons, or I'm sorry, the last, 3 seasons, excuse me. They've been to 2 bowl games in that time, and before he got there, they had 3 seasons where 4 wins was the peak. So he's really turned the program around. I think when you look at the group of 5 teams, they're not anything to shake a stick at. However, all the money is going towards USF. I will say that. A lot of people are thinking that Ashton Jeanty leaving. Am I saying that right?
Genty?
Ashton.
Not the person
That's the running back guy from Boise. Now that he's gone, everybody seems to think that, Boise's going to have a downfall. Not true if you look at the books. If you look at DraftKings right now, they are the favorite by a mile to win the the Mountain West. They are at negative 160 odds to win. And then even when it comes to the national championships, they're the only group of 5 team that's even in the mix right now at plus 25,000. So clearly the odds makers still think that they are going to be a contender this year. Hell, that's why they're ranked right now despite being a group of 5 team. And a lot of that can probably be contributed to head coach Spencer Danielson's just consistent play approach. I mean, they've gone back-to-back Mountain West championships handedly, and returning QB Maddox Madsen's performance in the second half of the 2024 season shows that the expectations are very high.
Yes, and I'll add they're also returning a pretty good offensive line as well.
Yep.
And so, who knows if maybe this year's Boise State running back will be going off again. So real quick before we get to the pick, one thing when I was doing some research. Just a little fair warning. You can't always trust what you're going to get from Google AI's overview. Or maybe you can. I don't know. I didn't verify this, but I believe, Ashton Jeanty, he got 103 total touchdowns last year, almost 10 per game. Crazy he didn't get the Heisman. So now we will get to our picks. All right. First of all, I'm going with Boise State. I'm going money line just because it's 6.5. I could see USF either keeping it close, Boise State just kind of toys with them, pulls away, or USF, they're down 10 as the game's winded down, they get a last touchdown. That's why I went with money line over them covering the spread. But I do think over 63.5 works pretty well for this game. When if you look at their passing defenses last year, both teams were over 240 yards a game. So even if it does get kind of blown out in one direction, neither team's going to hold on to the ball for that long, and they're going to be throwing it all over the place.
That's right. Now, Kev, before we get to my pick, I actually have some breaking news that I just got on my phone.
Okay.
Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that works in both of our favors. Fuck the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Beep. All right, now let's get to our picks.
All right,
Tyler's pick, yes. Okay, so I'm a little bit more confident in Boise State. I'm pretty gung-ho on them. I like the idea of a group of 5 team being ranked, so I want them to keep that ball rolling, and I want them to kind of win this game handedly. That's why I'm taking them against the spread. I'm taking the over. I know that's a big number, but I'm expecting some chaos here. First game group of 5. It seems like it's going to be just a kind of dueling banjos battle between these 2 quarterbacks. And I do have some backup here. They're returning 75% of their offense at Boise State, and last year they had the number 7 ranked points per game at 35.8. So I think when you take that into account, that's right there, almost already gets you to halfway to the over. Mm-hmm. Now you just need USF to come up and hit the ball running.
I agree. All right, so and hopefully we're right about that, because as we're recording this, we're about 45 minutes into that game. Yeah. We're not going to check yet, though. So
if this doesn't get uploaded until after the game, please take our word, okay?
Yeah. All right. Now into the game of the week, I guess this is where Big noon kickoff will
Oh
be.
man.
Oh,
Oh man.
I accidentally clicked, kind of buried the lead there. I swear I didn't touch it, but oh, you
I
clicked.
touched it. Whoops.
Tyler's got a secondary mouse there. So we're just gonna, I mean, you guys can all see that, but we're talking number one Texas at Ohio State. Rematch of the college football semis from last year, where Ohio State, they were just on a tear at the end of the season.
Yep.
They got it done. Now that was the end of last season, and there's been a lot of turnover as well on both programs, but especially for Texas, they're replacing a lot of their offense. I'm sure
Hmm.
you know most of our viewers will know that Arch Manning is taking over the helm for Quinn Ewers. He will be making his fourth career start, if I'm remembering correctly.
That is correct. Yeah.
The last thing I'll add before we pass it on to Tyler is just looking at September games. Texas has won 9 in a row. Their last loss in September was to Alabama, 19-20 at home in September of 2022. Ohio State, on the other hand, they've gotten 13 September wins in a row. Their last one, you guys might remember, they lost to number 11 Oregon at home by a touchdown in 2021. So pass it on to you, Tyler.
Yeah. Well, Kev, I'm going to start this with a couple of useless facts to get us going. Vibes check. Matt Patricia, first year as the defensive coordinator for Ohio State. I think I'm a very biased in saying this because he can single-handedly be blamed for the Philadelphia Eagles losing the second half of their 2023 season. So right off the bat, that's a negative in my opinion. Also, you have that funky news this week about Dave Portnoy maybe being banned from the stadium,
Yeah.
maybe not.
Is there any update in that from when we tried to record this yesterday?
No, it's a lot of finger pointing. They kind of walked it back. But this was, I was hearing about this in the same podcast where Dave Portnoy was saying Bryce Underwood, the Michigan QB, might be a Heisman contender. So right there, kind of lost all credibility in my mind.
That's true.
Yeah, but I watched Arch Manning's start last year. I think just pedigree. This kid's grown up around football. He has more experience than the kid on the other side of the ball. Hold on, let me pull it up real quick. Yeah, Ohio State's QB, Julian Sayin. He's a true freshman start. Yeah, he's a true freshman, redshirt freshman, excuse me, starter. He looks like the guppiest guy on the planet. I don't know if you've seen a picture
I
of him.
just saw it on your phone.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Odd looking SOB, but
Hey, wait a second. I picked Ohio State. Don't need to. All right. Sorry.
he's
What are you talking about? Hey, handsome young boy, quarterback. All right.
yeah, we're talking about children here. But so then you take all that into account. It's going to be pretty good on defense of the ball too. You got the best linebacker in America in Texas with Anthony Hill Jr. You got Caleb Downs. Obviously, he's going to make life kind of tough for Arch Manning. So I think last season, as we saw, Arch Manning is really good at getting rid of the ball quickly and keeping his head on a swivel. Kind of the same play style that Peyton Manning had from back in the day. Making sure that he's darting his eyes back and forth, not locking into any targets. He's going to have to get out of the pocket quickly, make decisions fast. That's going to be key in this game. I have faith in him. I think he spent his life in the limelight. This is going to be a good test.
I think it'll be key for Texas to get some sort of running game going so that Ohio State can't play a one-dimensional defense. My pick here, as we gave away, and I have one confidence on this, so I'm not confident at all. I've been going back and forth, but just looking at Ohio State's performed well in the early season. They won last year. I know Texas will have a bit of a chip on their shoulder, but I have Ohio State covering, or if Texas does get the win, if you really think they're going to get the win, do the under because Ohio State's losses last year were all low-scoring affairs. So that's my take. Now I'll pass it for Tyler's pick. You ready for the reveal?
Yes, sir. This time we're ready. Yeah, okay.
right.
They didn't see that coming. Yeah, I'm really high on Texas here. I think, the vibes are strong with Texas. There's going to be some hangover mentality in Ohio State. I think that does play more of a factor than people think. It's going to be a great game day atmosphere. Oh, one thing we didn't mention also before I keep talking about my pick. Emotional game, Lee Corso, final pick. Final
Yeah,
headgear. Yeah,
yeah.
I might shed a tear. Not as much tears as when they had the tribute to Kirk Herbstreit's dog last season, but still some tears. Yeah, and back to it. I just think Texas overall has the better team. They're ranked number one for a reason, and it's pretty crazy that we have a number one ranked team as the underdog in the season opener. That just goes to show you how much question marks there's going to be. I really just think this spread, it just comes from the fact that it's the home field advantage for Ohio State.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean? And when you take that into account, I think Texas, I don't know, do they travel as a fan base?
Yeah. I mean,
They
they
do.
got fans all over the
They
country,
do. Yeah,
but
they're one of those. But I
and
mean,
Ohio State's a big stadium,
they
so
are a
there's
big
going to be
stadium.
some
Yep.
space for them.
Yeah, the shoe. So yeah, I'm sticking with Texas money line. Not only do they cover, I think they win this candidly. With a 2.5 point spread, you might as well just take the money line and get your money's worth.
No, Ohio State gets it done at Safe Flight Stadium.
Ryan Day was
All right,
born on
next.
third base. Give me all of Dave
All right.
Portnoy's talking points. I
We're
don't
going
care.
next game. Now, this one not very competitive.
Not
There's
really.
one
No.
other very uncompetitive game we have. This one, though, Syracuse coming off a great season. They are not traveling to Tennessee. This game will be a neutral site in Atlanta, number 24 Tennessee. So almost a 14-point spread effectively. We'll look real quick last year to remind you. Syracuse, they got 10 wins last year. They won their bowl game. And this was their head coach Fran Brown's first season. I
Yep.
mean, it was a spectacular season. They ended up in 10 games that were decided by one score or less. They went 8-2 in those games. And a lot of that success came from transfer portal success from last year. And then last year they also had a very good quarterback, Kyle McCord. He set all sorts of records for Syracuse. They also lost their running back and their top three wide receivers. So back to the drawing board for this head coach, for Fran Brown. They're going to try to reload. They've picked up people from the transfer portal. We'll see how successful those are. The last thing I'll say on Syracuse, then I feel like I'll throw it over to Tyler for Tennessee's breakdown. They just named, as of last week, Steve Angeli. Syracuse will be Syracuse's starting quarterback. And this is after the LSU transfer was looking like the guy, Ricky Collins, but they ended up going with Steve. He was Notre Dame's quarterback, backup for a few years. I noted one start from him in the Sun Bowl in 2023 where he threw for 232 and 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So he's got talent, but will he rise to the occasion? It's a tall task for game one against a team like Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, like we all got to remember, Josh Heupel was the coach at Tennessee that beat Bama. He was the one who got the goalpost into the river. They are a team of a different pedigree. Syracuse is just still that new quarterback. What's his name? Help me.
Kyle McCord. Steve Angeli.
Steve Angeli, yeah. I don't think he's going to come out swinging enough. And Joey Aguilar, he's a journeyman. He's going to come up. He's able to adapt in that sense because he's just played on enough teams to kind of come through. I am looking forward to this game in a sense because it's a ranked matchup, and I want to see what Syracuse can do. I think there's a lot of question marks on it, but especially because, you're seeing how their return production is only 37%. A lot of question marks there, seeing what head coach Fran Brown can do with the new roster. I think he's starting to mold the team the way that he wants it to see. It'll be interesting. It'll definitely be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, this will probably be a step back in their total wins for Syracuse, but Fran Brown's been doing an incredible job there. Last thing I'll note before I reveal my picks is Syracuse 5-2 against the spread as underdogs in their last 7 games. Tennessee overall 3-6 against the spread. So with that in mind, that is why I am going with Syracuse to cover the spread, to beat the spread, then also over 50.5 points. Look, this could really easily backfire. I could see Tennessee winning this one 35-7, but I think Syracuse will be able to take advantage of what is a new defense for Tennessee. And then they might have a slow start on offense. Tennessee with their new quarterback. We did forget to mention the whole controversy with Nico.
Oh yeah, Nico.
Yes, but I believe everyone kind of knows he wanted more money. He didn't get it. Now he's at UCLA making less money, and by less money I mean 1.5 million a year in NIL. So it's tough to say that's less money. But a reminder not to bite the hand that feeds you sometimes. Tyler, you ready?
Yeah, no, let's go. Yeah, I'm picking Tennessee. It's kind of just based on the fact that it's the competition pedigree. I think they're a different class of team. I think Josh Heupel comes out swinging with this game, and I also just think Syracuse is too new with too many question marks, so to speak, and their return of production is so low. Well, give me the Tennessee with the points. The under pretty much just comes because of the fact that on those offensive lines you have so few returning members. So again, like you said, Kev, this could go either way. I'm not as confident. This is not my favorite pick, but we're gonna make it. And yeah, give me Tennessee in the under.
All right, and everyone in the comments, let us know what you chose, me or Tyler. All right.
Next. Yeah, okay. I like that. All right, Kev. Before you get into the stats, I just want to let you know before you got here today, we are recording this in my new apartment, that I have a lot of stats that go against my pick that make me scared. But I'll let you list out these stats first, and we'll see what happens. Okay?
Because for the folks at home, we have already recorded this one, so I know what Tyler's pick was. I was confused by it. So we'll just look. Alabama, as a reminder, they did not make it to the college football playoffs last year. I also think they lost to Tennessee last year. I think Tennessee's beaten them twice in the White Bowl era.
All right.
Anyway, 9-4, did not get past Michigan in the ReliaQuest Bowl. Pretty standard defensive year for Alabama. Good offense. They're returning about 2/3 of their productivity. It'll be the former Washington head coach Kalen DeBoer. Is it Caleb DeBoer?
No, Kalen.
Okay.
Yes, that was
I
correct.
thought I put that in wrong. Yes, in for the second season. Potential for bad weather. And real quick, Florida State did not quite grace the college football world with a late December, early January bowl performance, but they're trying to get back on the wagon. From my brief review of their offseason, it seems like they did bring in a lot of talent, including Tommy Castellanos, the Boston College quarterback.
Correct. Also spent 1 year at UCF, lest we forget.
True. And yeah, but it did seem like they had some key injuries in the spring and the fall. This just seems like an impossible task for Florida State, even though it's at home at Doak Campbell Stadium.
We got it.
Yep, Doak Campbell Stadium. They do have a chip on their shoulder. They got a passionate fan base. I might be taking one of Tyler's talking points, but it was Alabama who beat out Florida State for the college football playoffs 2 years ago.
There was that chip on the shoulder that they're thinking about,
That almost makes me think they could cover, but
for the ACC, right?
For the ACC.
All right, Kev, I mentioned to you yesterday when we did the trial run, is what we'll call it, of these picks, that there was some trash talk between players. Yeah, it was Tommy Castellanos actually made this quote: "Saban isn't here to save you anymore."
Man, ooh, I love that.
I like that, but LT Overton, Bama's starting defensive end, responded with, "Disrespect will be addressed accordingly." That's a cold answer. That's a him answer right there.
That's a tough one.
And now here, I'm going to just run you through I did a little bit of a dive into Castellanos because I didn't know anything about him. While in Boston College, he was sacked 39 times. Career, 58.6% cumulative passing percentage. That was, and in 2024, the lowest of the top 12 QBs was Josh Hoover on TCU, and he had it 66.5. So this kid's got some catching up to do. I will say I watched him a little bit of his highlights. This is a kid who likes to run more than he likes to throw. He's got that Lamar Jackson mentality where he can juke out defensive players, find that pocket, get into the end zone. I think that means that he's going to have to rely a lot on FSU's offensive line to give him those opportunities. And the fact that he just pissed off the defense of Bama is going to mean trouble.
It is hard to juke a 5-star player.
Yep, exactly.
So, all right.
All right.
Was
Let's get into it.
So, even though I'm going to be rooting my heart out for Florida State to make the ACC look good, I got Alabama covering. Honestly, I feel like I should have had 5 confidence on this. It's just a nod to some, a former,
Yep.
Anyway.
Good. And then, okay, so I will say I made this pick. Well, let me explain myself here, Kevin. Mike Norvell is a tested coach in the college football world. When I say tested, I mean he's had his time at Memphis. He's, been with Florida State since 2022. He does have an against the spread record of 8-8 against ranked opponents. So, it's not the best, but it shows you it can be a flip of the coin. And because of the fact that Florida State is in that rebuilding year mentality, in my mind, that means that, these guys can go either way.
Yeah.
It can go either way. And at that point, it's just do your job. 2 touchdowns is a lot, even though we have, let me pull up my one note here real quick. Tennessee is, or wait, I'm on the wrong game. My bad. Okay, I don't have notes on that. But no, I'm sticking with it. My confidence was somehow 4 at the time that I picked it. Yeah, let's go. 7-0. Yeah.
They haven't gotten punched in the mouth yet this year.
They have not yet. Look, there's
they get
question
a couple
marks.
good drives together in the beginning.
It's
who knows?
and
that crowd will support them if they show any sort of life in the first quarter.
just going back to it, I think it's so much going to depend on how Florida State's offensive line can deal with the adversity here. They're going to have to support their boy Castellanos because God knows I think he's going to have trouble throwing the ball, so he's going to have to rush that thing. They're going to have to get the running backs involved. Yeah.
All right. If that game does go to 63-3, that will be very funny.
That will be.
But on to the next one. This is the nightcap for the first slated games. This one's great. There's no way around this. Tiger versus Tiger. Death Valley versus Death Valley. We have number 9 LSU at number 4 Clemson.
Right.
So quick recap. LSU 9-4 last year. They ended up beating Baylor in the Texas Bowl of all places. Beat them on their home turf. Decent offense. 30.5 points per game. Not the same numbers they were putting up when Jaden Daniels was there 2 years ago, but their defense had some issues, gave up 24 points a game. It's sometimes hard to criticize that when you're playing in the SEC for 8 games. But yeah, then they're returning, even though they're returning a good chunk of their offense and defense, they have 16 transfer portal players added. That's the number 1 transfer portal class. And then on top of that, they have the number 10 incoming freshman class in the country. So really reloaded LSU Tigers team. However, I'll put a big caveat there because they had 4 offensive linemen drafted in the draft last year, and it just doesn't seem like they have the caliber players coming in to fill those roles. So there's might be a bit of a learning curve. New QB coach. Real quick, Clemson made it to the college football playoffs. Couldn't get past Texas. That's okay. We still love them. They're ACC guys. They had pretty good offense, kind of in line with what do you expect from Clemson. It's their defense that really dropped the ball last year.
Yes.
This was after 10 years in a row of ranking in the top 30 in scoring defense and in yards allowed. Last year, Clemson finished 49th in points allowed and 69th in yards allowed. So as a result, they fired their defensive coordinator. Dabo is still safe, and they hired the former Penn State defensive coordinator Tom Allen. You might recognize that name. He was the Indiana head coach a few more years before that. I think that's. I'll turn it over.
Let me get some talking points in here, Kev. So we gotta remember that there's a lot of coaching turnover in this game. You know what I mean? We got Tom Allen coming in, guy who's been called a madman, who's gonna have who's the defensive coordinator for Clemson. I think that alone is gonna show you, it's gonna back up what I'm about to say about Clemson's defense. When it comes to Clemson defense, they actually have 2 of the number 1 or top 10 players on the line when it comes to the when it comes to the NCAA. They have the number 3 overall ranked player in the country in Peter Woods, number 1 defensive tackle in the country, then TJ Parker, who's the number 10 overall player in the country, number 3 edge in the country. So they call them the Tiger Duo. Again, I say player in the country. I think that might be defensive line player. Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense, right, as I'm looking at my notes. Here's my vibe thing. Brian Kelly calling Clemson Death Valley Jr. Kind of counting your chickens, chickens before they hatch. You're a farm boy. You tell me.
Yeah, counting your eggs before they hatch.
Thank you. We also got Garrett Riley at the OC of Clemson, who's going to be wanting them to be as explosive on the offense as they possibly can be, but I just don't think that they're going to be able to go also against LSU's coverage. When you go back to LSU, their coverage grade was 95th actually in 2024. Yards per attempt, they were 98th. Okay, so we got slow offenses combined with hot defenses. Now, I know that we got 2 Heisman picks coming in on this game, but, it's going to be tough to juggle those kind of defenses, plugging you on both sides, coming at you from the edge rush.
Yeah, let's keep in mind those snakes in the grass at LSU took Mansour Delane
I forgot
from
about
the
that
Hokies
point. Damn.
because Fahim Delane, his younger brother, he was thinking about coming to Virginia Tech, but whatever. I'm not. It's whatever. But it does suck. Why do they need our best players? All right.
When we played Clemson last season, we being Virginia Tech, Mansour Delane was the only cornerback who did not get scored on direct coverage. So that's one thing to keep in mind against Cade Klubnik. So those two do have a history that we can look back at. He's not afraid to put pressure on the QB either. So I think Cade Klubnik's definitely going to have his hands full.
Yeah, last thing I'll say, then I'll let you make a point if you want. But Cade Klubnik last year, 36 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. And this is his 4th straight year working with the same offensive coordinator. It's going to be his 3rd straight year where he's starting with the same offensive coordinator. As you can see, Clemson, number 1 team in the country in returning production. Really didn't have that many holes to fill, and in the transfer portal era, it's very easy to fill holes. Anything to add before we get to the picks?
Just 2 stats that I saw that kind of made me think. Clemson offense, 13 and 40 on 3rd down conversions in 2024, 2 and 16 on 3rd and long.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not good.
It's not good, but let's go.
All right. So what I'm picking here, I got Clemson covering at home. I think this LSU team, they could lose this game and still make it to the college football playoffs. They have that much talent. It just takes a little while to mesh that all together. And I'm not the highest on Brian Kelly as a coach overall. I'm doing under. I feel like it's pretty obvious why the over-under is so high in this game because both defenses were kind of lackluster last year. But they made changes. I think it's either going to be under 50 or over 70 in this game. I don't think it'll be, and I think we'll know by the end of the first quarter. So
we definitely will, yeah.
We got the colors wrong, but Clemson covering and under.
Yep. I think we're in lockstep in this one, Kev.
Yep.
Even though the colors are wrong.
I definitely copy and paste.
Definitely copy and pasting. Yeah, I'm just not high on Brian Kelly either. I think it goes to show with why he was let go from Notre Dame. A lot of disappointing seasons there. He's been riding haters. He's been riding coattails of Coach O, I think, a little bit too long. R.I.P. Not R.I.P. as in he's dead, but R.I.P. his career.
R.I.P. to those marriages.
R.I.P. to those marriages. I was looking at his Wikipedia page the other day, and they just kind of gloss over that fact. They don't mention it at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? And then also, it's a home field advantage. Clemson's a crazy place to play in at home. Probably one of the, I would say the 2nd best crowd in the country behind Virginia Tech. No bias in that whatsoever. And then, Dabo Swinney, he has a system that refuses to look at the NIL. He does recruiting well. I have respect for Clemson as a program. Let's go.
I guess I do as well. All right. Now, here we go. Game of the week. Virginia Tech. I can't believe I did at. It's versus South Carolina, because they're playing in Atlanta, Georgia. This is the
We're not the most technologically savvy
Yeah.
people here, folks.
Oh, and I misspelled Gamecocks. Gaycocks.
They are the good. Yeah.
Interesting. It is, since we did record this yesterday.
Love is love. Love is love.
It's hard to pretend like that was a joke again. So South Carolina last year they lost. They lost Illinois in the Citrus Bowl, which was pretty embarrassing. The Hokies they played Minnesota in the Mayo Bowl. We're gonna look at both teams returning a little over half of their productivity. Hokies preseason favorite to win the ACC. And then yeah, their program went downhill after Hokie Respect Initiative. If you'll remember, there's the Marcus Vick gun incident at McDonald's, and Jimmy Williams stomped on Elvis Dumerville's neck in the Gator Bowl against Louisville. Whatever and anyway, we try to respect the game, the opponent at the moment, and it will go. Your program will go downhill if you do that, because 17-year-olds don't care about program respect when they're trying to figure out where they want to go take their 5-star talents to. All right. That's all. I actually didn't have any notes for this game, if you can see.
Yeah, that. The only things look. Lenore Sellers, he's a good player, I think, that, and what Shane Beamer's been able to do with that program is just shows he's got that Beamer ball mentality, that blood in him. Lenore Sellers, if I'm saying that right, he's a cool under pressure QB. He has great arm strength. He's able to, get those one arm reaches to get those 2 extra yards that he needs. He's good at escaping the sack. I don't know if he'll even need any of those skills with our defense, with how much returning production we lost to potentially better teams. Kevin's glaring at me right now. I think I sent you my notes, and they just said breathe, go outside, and touch grass. And yeah, but here's something to brighten your day, Kev. Kyron Drone is tied with Carson Beck in preseason rankings in the ACC. So that's
all right.
Even though I'm not too high on Carson Beck, some people might be. Also, just so you know, our number of added players is 50 new faces on this year's roster.
Yeah, we got a lot of turnover. Good thing we have a genius at
he is in the hot seat, man.
Yeah,
he's in the hot seat.
Honestly, the problem with Brent Pry, who I do like his vision for the program. He's
better than Fuente.
He a lot better at roster management. He hasn't been able to come through clutch and close games. I think the Hokies are 1-12 now and 1-score games under his tenure. That's something that can change. That's something that he can improve on. It's one of those things where I just like to see him take some active steps to doing that. So should we get to the picks?
Yeah, let's get to the picks.
All right. So obviously,
I think we all know
Hokies going to get this one done. This is my lock of the week. They're basically giving money away at 8-point spread.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Since we graduated, I have committed to watching the first opening game of Virginia Tech season, and then seeing how they fare. Last season it was the Vanderbilt game, and
yeah, I was there. That one
there was something about losing to a team with a stadium under active construction that really kind of hits home to you.
I was there. They ran out of water. It was 97 degrees.
I think, that was, I had to drown my sorrows away after that one. It's freeing, and that's all I can say. South Carolina. We should also note that this one is in neutral territory, so did we note that? And I just wasn't paying attention. That's fine. But yeah, it's going to be a fun atmosphere, I think, no matter what, so you can take that for what it's worth.
I think so.
South Carolina, give me the points.
True. Hokie men's basketball and women's basketball should be pretty solid this year.
That's right.
All right. Now, probably the third best. I think this weekend you can break it into the top 3 games: Texas, Ohio State, LSU, Clemson. Then this Notre Dame, Miami team. I mean, all 3 of those games, it's hard to kind of go one way or the other. I mean, they're very close money lines as a reflection, but.
Right.
This one we have Notre Dame traveling. If this one was in South Bend, right? That's where Notre Dame plays.
Correct.
Yeah, yes. In South Bend. By touchdown Jesus, I would say bet 10 points, 10-point spread they win. But they got to travel. It's a Miami team that had some juice shot into them last year with Cam Ward. He is gone. I meant to find the name of that slow receiver that they had.
I don't know.
Ran a slow 40 at the.
But it was at the
Yeah, and yeah, so Miami, they're losing Cam Ward. They did have the number one scoring offense in college football last year, 350 yards a game almost. Meanwhile, Notre Dame made it all the way. They got silver in the college football world last year. Um, and they started last season with a strong performance on the road at Texas A&M. College game day was there. There was a lot of hype there. They ended up taking care of business. I want to say it was 31-12, but I might be completely wrong about that. So we'll just
check it. I'm just
we'll yeah. Last thing, Notre Dame also lost their starting quarterback, so they will be going with C.J. Carr, who I have no notes on. So
Yeah,
take it away.
yeah, I'll take it away for you. I think CJ Carr, yeah, true freshman. He just beat out Mike Kinchy, I believe is his name, the other guy who might have been the starting QB. He's a kid with pedigree, you know. His grandfather was legendary. I have the Google notes here. His grandfather's legendary Michigan coach Lloyd Carr. His father is former Michigan quarterback Jason Carr. And I think right there, that's got to speak to Marcus Freeman's recruiting abilities, right? That kid was born to play at Michigan, and here he is starting for Notre Dame. They're very confident in him. I am high on Notre Dame this season, and one player that is going to be my lookout of the week is going to be, well, let me start first by noting that they do have Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love, and out of all these picks we're making today, Kev, there's only one team that has two running backs that both appear on the top 10 running back list, and that's Notre Dame. Now, the player I want to spotlight is Mr. Leonard Moore. I saw in a Louisville game last year, this kid has got wheels. He negated a 20-yard differential where he was behind a Louisville wide receiver and stopped what should have been a breakaway touchdown play. The kid has a 42-inch vertical, and that shows with how many interceptions he had last year. For reference, the highest at the 2025 Combine was South Carolina safety Nick Imamori. I'm not saying that right, at 43 inches. But I think when you look at Carson Beck coming from Georgia, he's got a lot of risky throws under his belt. I think he was able to rely on Georgia's wide receivers a lot to get open for him. But you look at the plays he's making. He's throwing it right over the heads of some of the defensive backs in the other teams. If you look at what he's going to go against with Miami's defense, I don't think they're going to let that happen nearly as much. I think he's going to get checked a lot more on this Miami team. So I'm very high on Notre Dame this season. I see him going pretty far. We'll see how the season plays off. I might put a future on him. We'll see.
Toby Lawau, men's basketball player at Virginia Tech, he has a 48-inch vertical. Crazy. All right.
Okay, well, that's basketball.
All right. Anyway,
Thank you very
my
much.
pick got Notre Dame. I have them winning. It's tough because Miami really is not much of a home environment, save the maybe 100 just hardcore fans who I do respect. They put on the shoulder. They deck out the face. They love the Hurricanes. They're stuck in the 80s, 90s, but there's a lot of empty rows behind them in the stands. So I do have Notre Dame taking care of business, continuing the Freeman era there. It's really they're starting to consolidate power in the college football landscape.
Yep.
Tyler, your pick here?
Kev, for like the longest time that I can remember, I've been one of those people who's been like Notre Dame does not deserve its position and the hype that it gets every year just because of the fact that they don't play in conference but Marcus Freeman has changed that for me. I really like him as a guy too, to be honest with you. In every podcast I've listened to, every interview I've had with him, and I think he's really started to put this team together.
You think about him when you're in the shower?
I do think about him when I'm in the shower, but I only wear bathing suits when I'm in the shower, just so you know. But yeah, that going with that.
Sorry about that.
It's about saying then that I'm taking Notre Dame to cover the spread here. The under is purely just because, like I said, I'm high on the defense in this game.
Yeah, it's crazy that Vegas seems to also think Miami's offense is gone because they averaged 44 points a game last year.
I know.
The over-under on this is 5 points above that. So that's kind of crazy.
I mean, we're also learning a lot week one.
Yeah.
And we're a very under-heavy team, aren't we? Yeah, I'm noticing that.
Yeah, true. I guess we didn't. We're gonna do a quick.
Let's do some shout outs for the other games that we're not talking about here. I also put together a 4-leg parlay for my DraftKings account for everybody to note. Let me pull that bad boy up so that people know what my legs are if I have it screenshotted. But one thing that I will note that's on there that we didn't talk about is Georgia and Marshall's over. Now, looking back to their previous season, Georgia, 31.5 points per game in the NCAA, 20.6 allowed points per game in college football world, and Marshall, 31.8 points per game, 23.1 allowed points per game. So that one is definitely going to be going on my card. Give me that over there. And if I can ever
Wait, Georgia, 31 points a game. They gave up 26. They only won by an average of 5 points.
15 or
Was it
11.5. 20.6, not 26.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Fair.
Okay. Good Lord, I gotta get my internet checked out. Jesus Christ, still not a log. Okay.
All right,
Okay, yes, my picks that I'm gonna ride with for my DraftKings account are gonna be Texas. Because there's a lot of question marks, I do have confidence in them, but when I'm putting money to it, I'm going Texas alternate spread plus 4.5. Clemson money line against LSU. Notre Dame money line against Miami, and over 55.5 in Marshall, Georgia. Combine all those together in a parlay, you're looking at plus 701. Yep.
Last thing we want to give a nod to some of the other games on this week's slate. Particularly, we thought about covering it, but was it UNC Colorado?
Yep. No, UNC TCU.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, never mind. Not so hype on that anymore.
What, you thought they were going to give us Dion and
That's what I
Belichick the
thought.
first
Yeah,
game?
yeah.
Come on, man. No.
All right.
But it is going to be prime time. Kev, what do you think? Is Belichick going to have success?
I sure hope not. He takes all of our good recruits, or the program does. I think before we end the video, we do a live score check on Boise State USF.
The game doesn't start till 8, Kev.
I thought it started at 5:30.
Well, that's what you wrote down, but I'm pretty sure that's wrong.
No.
No.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
All right, so we picked. All right, so right now it's first quarter is just about to end. It is 10-7 USF.
Okay, you know what? The over is looking okay.
Yeah, that's 17 points, 34. Yeah.
And Boise still got, a minute left in the first quarter. It's 7-10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad I did money line, not spread.
Yeah, what kind of an idiot?
I guess it
would pick
doesn't
the
matter
spread?
because I didn't even bet on this game.
But yeah, look, I'm doing pride here. Okay, I'm doing
All
pride.
right. So we click this to end. See you guys next week.
Thank you, gentlemen.